Hello, my course creators. Welcome to the Course Creation Incubator. It's Gina Onativia, online course coach and consultant, here to inspire you to work on your online course, work on your content, and build out your marketing. Now, a lot of times I get course creators calling and DMing me asking, I see so-and-so is teaching this or doing that. Should I be doing it that way too? Or I've had accelerator students ask, do I have to do 20-minute videos? Can I do shorter ones? Do I have to do these long emails? And I always tell them it's up to you and it's up to your audience. And I'm here to tell you, course creation is not one size fits all. What works for Maya might not work for Diane. What works for Kimmy might not work for Henry. And what works for everyone else may not work for you. And that's part of the beauty of course creation. I'm here to talk to you about the online framework that really works for you, because every online course creator is different. Now, I think sometimes what holds you back as a course creator is the idea your course has to look or feel or be a certain way. When I'm here to tell you the truth, let's embrace our differences. Just like life, where we should embrace all the beautiful, different things about ourselves, I truly believe we should embrace all the different awesome things about courses and the people we're serving. I don't want you to think that your neighboring course creator's grass is greener. Maybe your yard doesn't even have grass. Maybe it's some kind of cool native California landscape situation. So sure, get inspiration from others, but then do you. Do what's right for your business. I start my accelerator program every time by embracing this and telling them up front, every course here is going to look completely different from the next. That's one of my favorite things about recruiting a new class is seeing at the end of 6 weeks, or in this case, I've got a DCA accelerator that's going to take about 10 weeks, that what's going to come after we put together our courses, that they're going to look very different from each other. So in this podcast, I want to talk through some of the formats or frameworks that you can do for your own course, and I'm going to give you a couple of areas to think about to make your course really feel unique. Okay, let's dive into a few different types of courses that you could work with. And by the way, there are literally hundreds of types of courses that you could work with. I'm only going to cover a handful today, but please do research, explore, really figure out what's right for you and your audience. First and foremost, there's what I call the classic course, which is built ahead of time for your students. One example could be a 60 or 90-day deeper intensive. I call it a signature course where you're packaging up your life's work into a platform that drips out content or gives your student new information each week. With this, you're going to have about 3 to 5 lessons per week, and you're delivering a big transformation at the end. You're going week by week, and your videos tend to be about, let's say, 10 minutes, more or less. And again, everyone is different. And you're going to have handouts or PDFs that go along with those videos. The nice thing about a course like that is that it's an intensive course, right? Which means it's usually a significant transformation. The downside of it is that something like this typically takes a little more time to put together. There's also a pricing consideration here. A lot of times, these more robust courses come with a more robust price tag, as you can imagine. And if you're starting out and want to get your feet wet, this might not be a great way for you to go. That's a signature static course or a classic course. Another example of a classic course is a bit smaller version, which gives your students a specific outcome quickly and efficiently. So instead of having, say, 30 videos like the signature, you likely have more like 10 to 15 videos. I've been working on a course for Juliana Ranchik and Jason Kennedy from E! Called Own the Spotlight, and it's an amazing course with about 12 videos where you can learn to raise your influencer game and become a better presenter. Now it's tighter, it gets to the outcome, and it's super fun. So that's another structure that you can adapt for your own content and audience. Or you could do what I call a day-by-day course where you're giving students a little bit of content to consume each day and one action item or challenge that day. We did this for Bo Eason, a mentor, a former NFL pro, an incredible speaker. We built out a 21-day roadmap course, and I love this program. Every day for 21 days, Bo gives you a rule he lives by, and trust me, you want to follow Bo's rules if you want to make your way to the top of anything that you're doing. Then with that rule, he gives you a 5-minute video and a challenge to do that day. That's it. Easy peasy. I've seen course creators who try to jam in 5-step exercises every day for 21 or 30 days. Please don't do that. If you're going to do a daily drip of content with a daily lesson and challenge, give your people something consumable that they can process and implement. Do not let them get overwhelmed here. In fact, I'm working on an awesome course right now for women entrepreneurs, and it is going to be a 6-week course with a daily component. And we had to go back because we looked at the exercises and realized, we've got too much day to day here. We've really got to cut it back to 1 or 2 questions, keep it simple, keep it digestible so they don't get into overwhelm. Now, I want to point out that these day-by-day courses are different from the challenges you may see, like the 5 or 7-day challenges, which I love, especially when you're selling your course. I just signed up for an Instagram challenge and I've learned a lot. These challenges really encourage participants to take action, but may not have a stacking effect or a complete system with it. That's a key differentiator between a challenge that leads to a course and a day-by-day course. Now, of course, you can turn a challenge into a day-by-day course. I've seen some course creators who have a boot camp or challenge they've been doing for a couple of years turn it into an evergreen course by adding in more of a system. Now, just make sure you're teaching your students something that leads to a transformation, not just pushing them to take action without context. You can also create what I call a free lead gen course. Now, with this framework, your outcome is either really to build your list or to get pretty quickly to, say, a strategy call with you, and you're just giving them a little value and getting out. You may have 1 or 2 videos and then a handout, and then it could lead to a paid course or, like I said, a strategy session with you or some next step. It's really just a small taste of what to do to work with you. Then you have live courses. So you could deliver a live bootcamp over 6 weeks. That's usually what my accelerator is. And week to week, we're learning a different milestone, but we're learning it live together. And then you also get handouts inside of a membership site portal that I've set up. A few months ago, I did a training on the differences between live and pre-recorded courses. I'll link to it in my show notes. Now, there's some benefits to doing a live course. You can get instant feedback from your students and can address their questions immediately. Plus, your students may get to know each other and help push each other through the course, and that makes it really fun, especially when there's that kind of community and environment like that. Another way to look at a live course is to do something like a 1-week intensive or a mini course, say like a 90-minute workshop. I've talked about Susie from Mastering Newborn Sleep before. She sees a hole with her audience after about 4 months when the babies she's been serving are no longer considered newborns. So she plans to do a 90-minute live workshop for 4 to 18-month-olds who need a healthy sleep routine. She doesn't yet have a full-blown course for this, so a live workshop that she's planning is going to fill a gap that she has in her business, which is great. It's also an easy way for a new audience to get to know her and keeps her top of mind with her graduated newborn sleep audience. This is also a great way to try out a smaller price offering. If you're not sure your audience will pay for what you do quite yet, try a 60-minute or a 90-minute workshop for, say, $97. Then you can build on that offer, promote a bigger course, or, say, group coaching at the end of it. Then there are event courses. These are a companion to what you're doing for a live event. This can be virtual or in person. Maybe you want your student to have some content before they meet with you for a live event or a workshop. Or another example of an event course is one that stores the information from the event, or you can create a course that takes event material and packages it up. I'm working a course like this right now. You just have to keep in mind, if someone is going to go through your course after the event, how are they going to process these exercises? How are they going to get the most out of what you've done live, either virtually or in person? And how can you frame it so it makes sense for someone just watching it online? You may need to add some extra graphics or videos or handouts to provide that kind of context. So that's just a small assortment of the kind of courses that you can put together. So how do you decide, right? That's the ultimate question. When it comes to your framework, ask yourself a few questions. What's your transformation? If you have a big promise, like I'm going to prep you to get your business ready for sale, like one of my accelerator students, that course is going to feel very different from my other accelerator student who is promising a starting meal prep solution. So you may go signature or deliver an 8-week class live. A good rule of thumb, the bigger the transformation, the bigger the course. Now, if you've been struggling with your transformation or outlining your course, I say this a lot, by the way, it's likely because your course promise is too broad. I'm going to teach them everything they need to know about cooking vegan. Yikes, you'll never finish, right? Think instead in terms of what's manageable, a starter kit for cooking vegan, the former meat lover's guide to starting to cook vegan. That feels way more manageable than going all out vegan. Breaking down that ultimate promise into a manageable course also gives you room to build onto it with a second course or a third course. Next question. What does your audience really want? Maybe they want longer videos versus short. Maybe they just want audio or PDF downloads. Every audience is different. I remember working with someone from HR and her saying I need a lot more detail in these videos because my audience really craves that information. Okay, great. If that's what your audience wants, work that into your course. So make sure to survey your audience, and this is where your validation process comes in to see how they really want your content delivered. Because their answers may surprise you. I thought my audience really wanted in-person workshops from me. Then I did a poll last year, a survey. 70% said they had family commitments, it was tough to travel, and they really didn't want it. So I changed up my format. I changed up what I was planning to deliver. Make sure you're asking your folks what they really want versus giving them something they won't buy or use. You want your students to get across the finish line, so set up the course framework that really helps them be successful. Final question, how are you going to serve it up? You may want to deliver your course live because you feed off the live energy of the group. Now, I have folks in the accelerator who would absolutely freak out if they had to deliver their courses live. They are the type of people that need everything done in advance. They want everything set before they sell. This may resonate with you as well. And then I have other people who I mentioned before feed off that live energy. Wouldn't even think about doing something in advance like that because they want the live participation. Now, there are going to be some course topics that may not work live as well. If you're delivering a lot of really technical information, you might want to pre-record it so you can make sure you get everything in and have time to edit before your students see it. Really, what it comes down to is what works for you? Where do you thrive? How do you best deliver? And what format will you actually make happen? If you're too scared to do it live, don't. If you know you're a perfectionist who's going to take too long making sure your pre-recorded course is perfect, then maybe you got to throw caution to the wind and just go for it. I've done that with course creators as well. I'll see you next week. Please rate and review this episode, especially if you're listening on iTunes, and then subscribe wherever or however you're listening so you don't miss one course creation morsel. And don't forget to connect with me on Instagram at Course Creation Boutique. I'm going to be starting a weekly Q&A on there. Think of it like a shorter interactive podcast where you'll get the chance to have all your course creation questions answered. Until then, go create, be you and be brilliant, and get it done.